Like a backstage pass to the world of fly fishing travel, this is Waypoints, the podcast of destination angling. News and events, helpful travel tips, destination profiles, great stories, and expert advice from some of the most seasoned and experienced names in fishing travel. Waypoints is presented by Yellow Dog Flyfishing, the industry's #1 specialty travel company and the fly shop for the world of fly fishing. Freshwater or saltwater, international or domestic, Yellow Dog has you covered for your next fishing adventure. And now your host, author, photographer, and world traveler, Jim Klug.
Today, we're visiting the heart of Central America in a country that blends tropical landscapes, prolific fisheries, and pura vida hospitality. We're talking, of course, about Costa Rica, a destination that's become a must-visit location for traveling anglers seeking big fish, big adventure, and an incredibly diverse cultural experience. Our guests today are Chuck Hill and Marvin Rodriguez, the team behind Four Corners Costa Rica. Four Corners is an operation that has redefined how anglers fish and experience Costa Rica, offering a multi-location program, culturally immersive trip components, and fully customized itineraries designed to deliver several different world-class fishing locations in one seamless trip. From the Caribbean coast, where prehistoric tarpon roam the jungle-lined rivers, to the waters on Costa Rica's Pacific side, where roosters, tuna, and marlin patrol the surf and offshore structure, these are not your average fishing trips or cookie-cutter packages. Rather, these are immersive, multi-dimensional adventures and itineraries that showcase the best Costa Rica has to offer, both on and off the water. There is a good reason why, for years, Costa Rica has attracted anglers from around the world with the promise of exciting bluewater action, massive tarpon, powerful roosterfish, and an array of exotic species. With its warm, year-round climate, strong conservation efforts, and easy international access, Costa Rica is the ideal location for anglers seeking everything from technical inshore flats fishing to high-energy offshore action, all set against a backdrop of stunning tropical scenery and abundant wildlife. In this episode, we'll talk with Chuck and Marvin about the different fishing options found throughout Costa Rica, why the country is so special for traveling anglers, and how their unique operation makes it possible to experience multiple fisheries, species, and ecosystems all in one itinerary. We'll hear about the logistics of moving between coastlines, the gear and techniques needed to chase different species, and what guests can expect from Costa Rica's hospitality, vibrant culture, and unparalleled biodiversity. Waypoints is sponsored by Patagonia. To bring their gear to life, Patagonia is motivated by relentless curiosity and a passion for the wild. They evaluate hundreds of materials, build dozens of prototypes, and spend seasons punishing them in the world's most extreme conditions. The work is the guide, and Patagonia never tires of exploring, learning, and improving. Be sure to check out Patagonia's new Swift Current waders, repatterned and redesigned for bulk reduction, reduced seam stress, increased maneuverability, and improved repairability. Made from recycled materials without intentionally added PFAS, Swift Current waders move better in and out of the water. Gentlemen, welcome to Waypoints. Thanks for joining me today. It's so great to be sitting down in person, and I'm really stoked to have you guys on the podcast. This is wonderful. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us here.
Yeah, well, Marvin, good to see you. Chuck, good to have you here. Chuck, let's start with you. Tell us a little about your background, how you first found your way to a life of fishing, and what it was that eventually led you to Costa Rica. You are originally from Charleston, South Carolina, correct?
I am, yeah. This is a long roundabout answer. I'll try and keep it as short, as sweet as possible. But from Charleston originally, raised in the low country, got into redfish and trout and going offshore quite a bit growing up as well. My uncle was a charter guide out of Isle of Palms, so I spent my summer times working at the Isle of Palms Marina, mating on his boat. That was all throughout middle school, high school, and even college. And then after school, I went to Clemson, went back to Charleston, had no idea what I was going to do with my life. And he asked me to come mate on his boat until I could figure that out. So I did that for a couple of months. Ended up going and working with one of his good friends who would come down to the dock every day asking me when I'd get a real job. And so from that point, got into the medical equipment exportation world, and specifically hospital beds, stretchers, x-rays, MRIs, things like that. We would specialize in buying that type of equipment out of hospitals throughout the United States. We would, when it was being replaced with brand new equipment, we would load it into containers, ship it all over the world, India, Mexico, South America, and we ended up opening a retail location in Costa Rica. And that's kind of where Marvin came into play and how I crossed paths with him. He was introduced through other friends in the fishing industry. Then he and his son Arturo took over the medical business down there, going around to hospitals and clinics, trying to sell this equipment to doctors. And it sounded all well and good initially on paper, but being a Costa Rican, it was tougher than initially anticipated. So where I came into play, I'd be one of the white guys behind the scenes and bring me down throughout the country, shaking hands, legitimizing everything that they were selling to them and saying. And while we did that, we took all these doctors and hospitals fishing and closed deals that way. And over the course of 10 years, we got to do that, got to know the back roads of the country. I mean, granted, all these guys are from Costa Rica, but I got to see it firsthand. And through that, made an incredible network, befriended Peter Gorinsky, who was considered the pioneer of fly fishing in Costa Rica.
He's a legend down there, absolutely.
He is. And so he took us under his wing, taught us a lot, and helped us strategize our company, things like that. And overall, it got to a point where we had the recipe to make all of this happen. And we all looked at each other hard and we're like, if we don't do this, we're going to regret it the rest of our lives. And that was back in 2021 when we finally made the decision to go all in on it. And we've been taking people around the country fishing ever since. The best decision I ever made.
It's pretty interesting. It wasn't fishing that initially got you to Costa Rica, but once there and you had immersed yourself in the country, that became the ultimate goal. It's like, all right, we're gonna pivot for medical sales and go all in on fishing, and that's what's happened.
Well, absolutely. As well, like on the immersion side of things, like just getting to see the side of the country that they showed me, seeing it from a local standpoint. I've gotten to do all the touristy things, and I've gotten to do it from the way they want you to see it, and there's no comparison whatsoever. So to be able to put all this together for others, to be able to share those experiences with others, that's also a huge reason why we did it, because we love doing it ourselves, but we love showing it to people as well.
Right on. And Marvin, I feel like we could do an entire episode just about your interesting background. You're like the Dos Equis man of Costa Rica, the most interesting Costa Rican I've ever met. And of all the unique things you've done in your lifetime, here you are now with Four Corners as an owner and one of the operators. Now, you grew up in Costa Rica and in the small town of San Ramon, correct?
Yes. Yes. First, I mean, San Ramon is a pretty big area. All my family, grandpa and everything, they were back in the little town way of the of the main city. And so we grew up since I was a kid. I was in charge to help my dad and my other three brothers and sister. We had to do a lot of work. We had to do a school, but also as soon as we were done with the school, we had a few minutes to change and go chase cattle and do all kind of different stuff in the farm.
No downtime.
No downtime. But like in the weekends or whenever I had a chance, there's a river that crosses the property, the farm. So I will pretty much escape out of my mom's eyes and dad and take a fishing line and go and catch fish there and spend the whole day. Then I had to do a few answers after I came back home every time, but I just wanted to do it.
That's where the sickness first began, the addiction to fishing.
Yes. So, and then after all, when I was 19 years old, I had the opportunity to move to come to New York. One of my aunts was moving up there. And so I decided to, go and find a different world out there, check different cultures and try to learn the language. And so being there for a little bit, and I started making friends, and all the friends that I was making, they're all fishermen and all that kind of stuff, hunters. And so I got into that world pretty quick.
Right on.
Yeah. Then And after that, moved back to Costa Rica, and right behind me came a bunch of people, and my friends, and a lot of people. They wanted to check on Costa Rica. Back then, Costa Rica was not that popular, but they were interested to find out what I was telling them, and so it really became to be like I was like the one that brought a lot of people down there. And up to today, they're still my buddies, and we fish together when we have a chance. We we fish at this point now with Four Corners, and giving me the chance to show people around, not only friends but also people that wants to join us and come and check out what we do. I think is one of my major accomplishments.
Yeah,
That I
show them the best of Costa Rica, and I know from having spent time with you in Costa Rica, you're really proud of it, and you know it better than anybody. So it's a pretty amazing experience to go down and travel throughout Costa Rica with yourself, and also with the third member of your team who's not here with us today, and that's your son, Marvin Arturo. He was going to be joining us on the podcast, but of course, airline issues that kept him from being here today. But he's another integral member of your team and the Four Corners operation.
Absolutely. We couldn't do it without him. There's no doubt.
Well, he's it's a dream that came through, having my son, and now I spend time fishing with him a lot, and travel. We travel a lot, all over the place, even here in the United States and all that. And then we have a really awesome time together.
Yeah.
And
kind of the dream job, right? Working with your son.
It's a dream job.
It's amazing. And he's an impressive young man, having spent time with him as well. He's a lot of fun. No doubt. Now, one thing that we need to start off with is an explanation of what exactly this business is, what Four Corners Costa Rica is, because this is a very different kind of program and offering. It's super unique in the sense that this is not your typical single lodge offering or a one location package where you book for a week, you do a standard 7-6 package. You go down, you stay in one place, you fish, you're in that immediate area, then you go home. Rather than a single location, you guys have created something completely different where you have operations and options located all throughout the country of Costa Rica. So, Chuck, I'll start with you. When you describe the program to potential clients or guests, how do you explain the Four Corners concept to someone who is perhaps more familiar with that single lodge kind of packaged itinerary concept?
Well, we're different because we do everything custom curated towards what the guest wants to experience. A lot of people come into Costa Rica with a preconceived notion as to what they think they're going to see or what they want to see or what the internet tells them they should see. And so how we are different is we've got 7 lodges scattered across the entire country, and they're all very different from one another. 2 on the East Coast, 2 on the Pacific Coast, and then 3 internally. And with that, Costa Rica is a country the size of West Virginia and makes it's possible for us to be able to travel amongst from spot to spot throughout a week's trek or longer or shorter, whatever the client wants to do. And a lot of times people will reach out saying, well, I would love to catch a roosterfish and a tarpon and maybe a sailfish in the same week. Okay, you called the right people because we know exactly how to do it. You need to come this time of the year. We'll line up everything from the minute you arrive to the San Jose airport to the minute you get dropped back off at the San Jose airport. And that doesn't necessarily have to be only for hardcore anglers either. We design our trips for couples or family-friendly trips. We've done bachelor parties. It really just depends on what the client is looking to experience. A lot of times they'll tell me what they think they want to do, and then from there we work backwards. I'll say, okay, well, I know you think you want to do this, but we have these options available that are quite a bit different and a lot with the cultural immersion and the experiences that you can't really find anywhere else. Would you be open to doing this? And most of the time people are like, oh, absolutely. I didn't know that was possible. And then we take them around and plug them into all these unique places that we've gotten to experience over the years.
Well, what you guys have essentially done is hand-selected all these amazingly unique locations. You couple it with that cultural immersion, the experiences, amazing meals, really to kind of showcase the very best of what Costa Rica has to offer, right, Marvin?
Yes. So the idea, when I was a little escaping from my mom and dad's eyes and then go and find these spots. I still do that. I like to go around the country. So we're going from point A to point B, and I still want to find something in between that. And then I've seen a lot, and I like to show people those little spots, those very unique things that any other travel agency will not be able to find because it's not in the book, it's not in Google.
Yeah, you're not going to find this on the internet. You've got that insider local knowledge that
yes,
delivers something totally unique and special.
Yes, I've been doing that for all my life.
Yeah,
trying to find all those places that nobody can.
And it hasn't stopped. You're still searching.
Stopped. I still want to do that.
I love it. Well, fellas, why the name Four Corners Costa Rica? I mean, you talked about how you have 2 operations on the Caribbean side, 2 on the Pacific side, in the interior of the country. But what does the name Four Corners represent for the operation and the experiences you offer? Why is that a significant name?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Coming up this November 4th through the 9th, join Yellow Dog Fly Fishing for an experience unlike any other. One of a kind Belize Bluegrass Week at El Pescador Lodge. This incredible couples trip blends world-class saltwater fishing with nightly concerts featuring Grammy-winning bluegrass artists and top-tier pickers from across the U.S. We're talking serious talent, great flats fishing, and a private Caribbean venue. Guided fishing and non-angling activities during the day, and exceptional bluegrass music under the stars. A few spots remain open, and we'd love to have you there with us. For more information, give us a call, 406-585-8667, or email Matt at yellowdogflyfishing.com.
Well, the easy and obvious answer is the fact that we operate in all 4 corners of the country. But going deeper than that, we've got a net that is and a network that is scattered throughout the entire country, strictly of locals. As of right now, I'm the only American involved in the entire operation. It's all in the hands of locals. They get to show you their country how they think you should see it rather than how Google tells you should see it. And in my experience in the years of being around Marvin and his entire family and many locals for that matter, when, let's say, my friends get to meet him and like, oh, you're from Costa Rica? I've been to Costa Rica. I love it there. Okay, where have you been? It's always Tamarindo, Jaco, or Los Sueños. Those are the 3 most common answers, which is fine. Those areas are beautiful. That's just certain types of people's cup of tea. That's not really what we want to do. We focus on avoiding those types of areas so that we can show the more remote locations, the corners of the country that people don't typically get to see, the less pressured areas for fishing. Granted, we do have guides in those areas for the clients that are in town with their family and want to get away for a day and do a day trip or 2 or whatever it is. We can accommodate those because we do have 31 local captains scattered across the entire country. But really, the Four Corners name is more so for the entire network that's involved. It takes an entire village to make all of this run properly. It's not just me, myself, or Arturo doing this. There's a lot of people truly working behind the closed doors to make it all happen.
In this case, not just a village, but an entire country to make it all happen,
exactly.
Which is awesome. Well, you were mentioning a moment ago, Chuck, that you guys kind of officially jumped in and launched this program in 2021, correct?
Correct.
Was that years of discussion and evolution of like, we should do this and power planning, or was it like one night of many beers where like, you know what, we're starting this thing and let's jump in with both feet and we're doing it? How has that kind of evolved into really jumping in and fully focusing on this business and these offerings?
It was really over the course of several years we had talked about it. Leading up to it in 2019 through 2021, I had a lot of health problems. I have 2 rare diseases internally in my intestines and esophagus, to a point where in 2020 I was hospitalized 6 times in about 18-month span. At that time, our medical equipment business, we had the 3rd or 4th largest inventory of hospital beds in the world when COVID happened. We prepared for it well. We set ourselves up well. And then to a point where I was like, you know what truly is important in life? Is it working myself into the ground, worried about my health, making good money, or is it actually truly living? And I knew Costa Rica was that area where I got to feel that. And So after years of kind of talking about it, but then it was also, oh, your health isn't where it needs to be yet for us to truly go after this. And then it was in 21 where I still wasn't to a point yet where we should have gone after it, but it was just to a point where I was like, you know what, we're doing it. It's either now or never. I don't know how long I'm going to live, but I know the time I am going to live, I'm going to do it as best as I possibly can. And so that's what we did. We jumped all in, spent a bunch of time traveling around the country at that point, solidifying relationships we'd already had. But then even in certain points, we'd be in the most remote corners of the country. I would have an episode. I'd be deathly sick for days and days, not able to get help. But to see how some of the managers and the team at many of these lodges came to my help, came to my aid, the things that they did for me, I was like, man, these people deserve the opportunity to be amplified, and the hospitality they give, the experiences they can offer, and the area they live in. Like, they deserve the ability to show this off to people that are looking for that adventure. And it was a no-brainer at that point.
And ironically enough, over the last few years, you've actually gotten healthier by spending all this time down there, which is
much
amazing.
Healthier, yes, absolutely.
Change of lifestyle, change of zip code. It's amazing what it'll do.
100%.
Well, in putting this business together, Marvin, I mean, obviously, as with any business, there's a lot of challenges in, kind of building it up, organizing it, creating this network. And even today, as you guys continue to grow and evolve, there's always challenges, as there are with any business effort or when you launch something on your own. What are some of the biggest challenges that come to mind that you guys have faced over the last few years in putting this together? I'm obviously having, those local connections, being Costa Rica, having this wonderful network of people that Chuck just alluded to, that helps. But, there are still things that come up that you have to overcome. What are some of the big ones that come to mind?
Okay. To me, I mean, we got into the fishing. Well, I've been fishing all my life because that's my passion and all that stuff. One of the biggest challenges to do this business, but still feel the passion for us to do it. Anytime that we go out there, we take people fishing. I still feel like the first day I went out fishing. And to me, that's to keep that energy and keep that, I just ask God to keep me with that energy all the time. And I know Charles is the same way, and Arturo's the same way. And the three of us, I think that we make perfect team, I would say. Charles is the one that is always, he's the one that manages a lot of different areas of the business. Arturo, my son, he's into other stuff. I'm not so much into the computer stuff and all that, but I'm the one that cuts the trail when it's out, to go out and chase our dreams and chase our the
passion.
beauty and the passion and all that. So that, to me, the big challenge is to keep the three of us doing what we want to do, enjoy it, and then expand that experience to the people that come and fish with us.
Be able to share that with others. Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, it's a good segue into what I was going to mention is that I recently had the chance to come down and not only spend time with you guys, but bring my entire family down, my wife and my 3 kids. It was an amazing trip. And what you just alluded to there, Marvin, about the importance and the unique opportunity to share this with others, we were on the receiving end of that. And it was absolutely incredible. Not just for myself, who had been to Costa Rica and obviously, care about the fishing, but for my family, for my wife, my younger kids, my daughter, both my boys, they loved it. And the takeaway wasn't even time spent on the water. It was all the other things that you guys showed us. And it was really, really spectacular.
I think that's another big compliment of the whole thing. To me, it's also not only showing the people catching fish and all this stuff, but having, like you just say, you guys coming down with your family and all that. My family share, and then we, at the end of the trips, we are another family. So we tell everybody, now you're Four Corners family. And so we keep track on all of this, and it's super important for me being able to share and then, have the people enjoy also what we do, our culture, many things. And at the end, it's like, this is family.
Well, you feel it. I mean, my takeaways after having spent time there with my family was, one, you guys focus on a culturally immersive experience that you typically just don't get with most fishing programs. That was, I think, my largest takeaway from the time with you guys. Two was the staff and the people, right? Everyone we encountered, local Costa Rican hosts, the captains, the chefs, the families, the lodge staff. It was just amazing network of, as you just said, Marvin, family, right? And I love the fact that every trip itinerary is fully customized and curated around the variables and opportunities that each client kind of wants to focus on. So, in my case, it wasn't like, I'm coming down with some buddies and it's hardcore fishing, it's all we care about. It was like, look, we're here with the wife and kids and they want to do some fishing, but we want to do a bunch of other things. And you guys nailed it. It was just amazing. And I can't emphasize to people how rare that is in our industry. Every fishing operation is like, sure, we're family friendly, or, oh yeah, we're ideal for couples. Well, one, it's just not the case with all of them. But two, to really be able to deliver such an exceptional experience for your family at a destination like this, it's a rare thing, and this was a home run. So kudos to you guys for putting that together. I love it.
Thanks for those words.
Thank you.
It was awesome having you guys down there, and then from another side of it too, in a sense, granted, I don't have a family. I'm still 34 and young and all that stuff, but putting myself semi in your shoes, where my parents I was telling them, I'm going to Costa Rica. I'm going to this country you've never been to before, things like that. Their minds just starts running. Oh, Central America, this, and everything there can kill you in the jungle and all this stuff. But I was put in the hands of the exact family that you got to experience, as well as obviously I've gotten to know them over the years and everything. And I remember when we first met in Mexico, and you're like, my daughter's going to be down there by herself. We're not really sure what to think.
Studying abroad for a semester.
Exactly. And so then I'm like, you got nothing to worry about, because I know the people down there that are going to be the ones that take care of her. Like, they treat everybody like their own family, and it's indescribable. It's truly special.
And that's exactly what happened. I think she called you every single day of her 3 months down there for advice, and you guys took wonderful care of her. It was amazing. Well, let's talk more about the geography of Costa Rica, because this is a super diverse country that offers all types of travel and fishing experiences. The country obviously has two coastlines, right? You got the Pacific, and you got the Caribbean. It's an incredible diversity of fishing environments. Saltwater, obviously, is what most people think of, but also freshwater, which I think a lot of people don't realize. Can you give us a quick overview of the kind of different regions and areas that you guys offer and operate in? I mean, again, you talked about 7 different locations throughout the country. I know we could go on and on about each one of them individually, but give us kind of a quick overview of what those 7 options are and what the main areas that you focus on.
I'll run down a couple, and I'll let Marvin run down the rest. So the northeast part of the country, we've got a lodge up there right on the river, where it's the natural border between Nicaragua and Costa Rica, dumping into the Atlantic Ocean. Probably the largest, or one of the top 3 largest conglomerations of tarpon in the world. Just very few people know about it. Exceptional fishing, nonstop. The only limiting factor there typically is whether or not you can get out of the inlet. It's different times of the year based on rain runoff and currents and things like that. But the fishing there, when it is able to be fished, it is top notch. Then staying on the East Coast, if you go all the way further south towards the Panama border, there's another awesome tarpon fishery there. And granted, with both these places I'm talking about, we're talking big fish, not
big tarpon.
There are no juveniles around. I mean, granted, maybe you'll find one off in the mangroves here or there, but talking 130 to 200 pounds every fish you're catching. And so down south on the Caribbean side, it's a little more of the crystal clear Caribbean-style water with coral heads and things, but where we actually catch the tarpon is another spot where the river flows into the ocean, and it's got a little bit of the dirty water, chocolate milk type color. But
a lot of rolling fish that you're typically seeing, and again,
over.
Big tarpon.
All over the place, yeah. So it's not your typical sight casting like you're used to in the Keys, but there's so many rolling around, you just got to pick up and cast towards wherever the roller was at.
They're there.
Oh, yeah. You're hearing them and seeing them all day long. So then moving a little bit further inland, we've got several different options, but a large area kind of in the northern central part of the country, where we take people floating on rafts for different species in the freshwater and the rivers through the rainforest, like machaca, which is a cousin to piranhas, another species called a guapote, which is a rainbow bass. There are 4 different types of those, all very beautiful, different patterns. What else? Mohara, which is kind of like a tilapia, little panfish with a bunch of different colors of those. There's a tepe machine, which is it's a freshwater mountain mullet. Those aren't typically where we're floating on the rafts, but I was trying to think of ones on that particular segment of the river. We have seen tarpon in those rivers as well, and we're talking way inland.
Because these are freshwater jungle rivers. You're floating through the rainforest. You got the raft set up, what you might expect, floating in Wyoming or something like that. And you guys are fishing these jungle rivers in the middle of Costa Rica.
Yep, you got monkeys overhead, macaws flying around. It's very peaceful and beautiful. Absolutely. Then I'll leave the Pacific side to you, but then further south in the country, we also have an area it's called the Cloud Forest, where you can actually fish for rainbow trout, because we do have the cold water rivers up in the mountains.
Tico trout,
exactly. Yeah. They're not huge or anything crazy worth writing home about, but it is a cool, like a single day type of experience after you've done a bunch of salt water and things like that. But it reminds me a lot of Western North Carolina. It is very beautiful getting up there, and the bird life while you're there is incredible, like quetzals flying around while you're fishing for trout. But that's generally the kind of the right side and central area of the country, the East Coast, and then I'll let Marvin take over the rest with the coffee farm and the other
Pacific.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we have a coffee farm that is very helpful, to have people fly in the country, and it is 45 minutes away, so we can have people to fly and spend some time there, like overnight, and rig what we're gonna do the next day, and then, like, again, we have the flexibility of, if weather-wise or anything goes wrong in any of the spots that we already have,
you can pivot.
We can change it like in no time, very quick.
And that's a huge factor, because a lot of times, again, you're going to that single lodge, you get a system, you get weather that rolls in, conditions you can't control, and it's like, well, sorry, you're there to deal with it. You guys have the ability to be flexible and say, we were planning to go over here, but instead we're going to pivot and we're going to move to this part of the country or this coast, and call an audible and keep you in the game, which I think is huge for traveling anglers.
Yep.
Yes. So the Costa Rica setup, I guess we are lucky on that, very lucky, because we have a big mountain range that crosses the country from south to north, and that makes the big difference of the weather in between the Pacific and the Caribbean side. And so a lot of the times the Pacific is bad weather, a lot of rain or whatever, and the Caribbean side is beautiful. So it's like, hey, we're going to catch tarpon, we're going to catch a snook, we're going to chase this and this and this and this. But usually, in the Pacific side is pretty calm. Couple months of the year, they can get a lot of rain and all that. We still know the fish still there; they don't go away, but it gets a little harder to catch it. Which a lot of people ask me, "What's your favorite spot to fish in the country?" And it's like my favorite spot is the one that I'm there, and because everywhere we go, we enjoy and we catch good fish and we have a good time. Of course, Marvista as being my child, and as I built that 30 years ago. So I spent a lot of time there. I did some developments there, and I mixed up working in development areas, and anytime I had, I went out fishing.
That's a beautiful part of the Pacific Coast. Marvista, the property that you're talking about, it's an eco lodge located in one of the most beautiful parts of that coastline. Just a spectacular place to stay, and you are very much one with your environment and surroundings, and about as pretty a place as I think you can ever go. And one of the bases of operations that you guys will put clients, and boy, what a connection to the real Costa Rica, for sure.
Yes. Talking about the guys that came back with me back in the 90s after I spent some time in New York, we went looking for properties along the coast and all that. And that's how we found that. it was not easy. At the point that we couldn't even drive to the property back then because it was not a road. We try 4-wheel drive vehicles, big, tires and all kinds of stuff. We still couldn't make it. So it took us a while to be able to get to that place.
You had to build a road.
Then, we started building the road, fighting with the mud and all that stuff until we got it to the point that where we have it right now. And the idea is to keep it as it is as long as we can. So my idea is this to go from generation after generation because it's very unique.
Super unique and absolutely beautiful. I mean, one of the neatest eco lodges I think I've ever been to, and stellar place to spend time. Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Well, with so much fishing variety available, how do you proceed when someone says, all right, I'm in, let's go? How do you go about kind of picking the right itinerary and game plan for each trip? What's your process on that?
A lot of times I spend a lot of time trying to get to know the client, or like I said earlier, what they think they want to do, or what that preconceived notion of what they think they're going to experience in Costa Rica is. And a lot of times they'll say, oh, I want to go see the volcano, but I also want to do this, or I want to go to the beach for a week, or whatever it is. And so I'll work backwards with them. I'll give them numerous different options of itineraries. And on some of them, they might say, oh, there's too much fishing on that one. Can we do more snorkeling or more hiking? Can we take this away? But I really like this idea from this other itinerary. We kind of fuse everything together and work backwards to really hone in to that ideal bucket list once-in-a-lifetime trip that they're looking for.
So with most of your packages, and I know, again, they're all customized. Every itinerary is a little bit different, but you guys try to make it as all-inclusive as possible. You've got, from the time you land in San Jose, the meet and greet, the domestic transfers going back and forth across the country or to different destinations, the lodging, the meals, obviously the guided fishing and all the time on the water. You guys try to include as much of that into the packages as possible, regardless of what the different destinations are, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Everything from the minute they arrive in San Jose to the minute they get taken back to the airport, everything's taken care of. The transport domestically, the food, shelter, fishing, all the different activities, which we go over a lot ahead of time trying to pick out what they would like to do on the outside of fishing. But granted, sometimes you come to a fork in the road. We're supposed to go left, but there's a T-Rex crossing to the right. We're going to go down to the right and go check out whatever is caught our eye. We try and be as flexible as humanly possible with these clients so that they get to see as much as they possibly can. A lot of times at the end of people's trips, whether it be a week, they're like, I feel like I've been here for 3 months.
I've seen so much.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing. And I know, again, having experienced this with the family, it was visiting the volcanoes and going on hikes and going to hot springs and swimming in jungle rivers at night. And I mean, all this cool stuff that we got to do that, hey, we never would have found in a guidebook. We never would have done it on our own. But it added so much to that Costa Rican experience above and beyond the time on the water or the time fishing. So can't emphasize how unique that is. Talk a little bit about the logistics of moving around the country. So you arrive in San Jose, oftentimes you maybe go to the coffee farm, 45 minutes away, you kind of settle in, that might be your first night. And then you've got your itinerary. We're going to go off to 1 or 2 or 3 of these different locations. How about the transitions from each destination within the country? If you're going from the Caribbean to the Pacific or you're moving north to south, how do these transfers in country typically work?
Sometimes when, let's say someone wants to go from the northeast coast over to the northwest coast and they want to do it in, let's say, a week. Well, we'll spend X amount of time fishing in the Northeast. Then instead of making that 10 to 12 hour drive all the way across the country, we will give them options of, hey, we can stop here at 2 hours throughout the drive and we can fish for a 6-hour float. And then after that, we pick up, we head to the base of the volcano, go jump in the hot springs that evening, we relax. And then the next day, we've only got a 3.5 hour drive across the country instead of trying to make it all happen during one day. And then during those stretches of, let's say it's 3.5 hours, we're stopping at small little craftsman shops, people that are making different pottery the indigenous way, stopping in little hole-in-the-wall restaurants, things that literally aren't on Google, or you can't even find them on Facebook. Like, it's just places that we've found or have come across over the years of being probably in areas we shouldn't be at certain times, but it all leads to the good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when it comes to accommodations, because that's a question we get a lot, with travelers, you guys kind of have the spectrum. You can go as high end as you want, all the way to the other end of the spectrum, which is more kind of immersive eco lodge type accommodations and kind of everything in between. How do you determine what the accommodations are that are going to be included in each package? And I guess what are the options?
Well, we can do, depends what people wants to experience. I mean, if we find out that these people wants to spend few days on a luxury place and all that, we can definitely do that. And if it's, if they want to just go and do the fishing and they want to spend time like more like Costa Rican type of experience, food, local food, healthy stuff, easy going, we can make a combination of all that. Some of the people are more like tourists to do the local stuff. Mm-hmm. Some other people likes to do,
more of a high-end, luxury type
yes,
experience. But
yes, we do that.
You have the options, the whole spectrum.
We have
most of the time that decision making hinges on the wife for the most part. It's usually, or the angler's like, I just got to make sure my wife is happy. What do you think we should do? Okay, here are the options. We run into this all the time. I think this, or this would be the best idea for you.
Some of the questions that they ask is AC, if there's AC, and if you have a swimming pool and all that stuff. So, okay.
The answer is always sure. We can do that.
We'll fix it up too. A lot of people doesn't want to spend a lot of time on the road either. They don't want to, either for health conditions or for the time that they don't want to spend the time on the road. So we have domestic flights that they can take them to, it's everywhere from the main airport, anywhere you fly in each corner.
Yeah.
You
can either drive it and see the country, or you can hop on an in-country domestic flight.
Domestic flight is 40 minutes pretty much anywhere you go. Yeah. So if you go to the Corcovado place, it's 40 minutes. Yeah. And if you have to fly to Nosara near Mar Vista, it's 40 minutes.
You fly more than 40 minutes, you probably left Costa Rica at that point.
You'll be outside the country.
Well, let's talk a little bit, shifting back to the fishing. Let's talk about the species lineup. And I know it's as diverse as you can imagine in Costa Rica, but what are the main species that clients are typically most interested in targeting with your programs?
The top requests are typically it's roosterfish, tarpon, sailfish, marlin, mahi, yellowfin tuna, and bluefin trevally and cubera snapper. Those are and machaca as well because people want to do the rafts. But those are the most requested ones, and it's usually the rooster, tarpon, and billfish in the same week. So to do that, we're typically running from coast to coast, and there's several windows of the year that you can pull that off. But that's the most requested one.
But, and you think about one singular destination trip, obviously with lots of ingredients, but not many places where you could catch a tarpon, a sailfish, a roosterfish, and then trout all within the same area. That's pretty unheard of.
I have two more species that I don't necessarily want to talk about quite yet until we've got them completely dialed in. Actually, three more now that I think of it that will make that list mind-blowing to a point where people potentially in the future wouldn't look to go fishing elsewhere because I'll have to tell you off camera.
well, the one you led with on species there was roosterfish. And let's talk a little bit about this. This is a super addictive and exciting target for a lot of fly anglers. A lot of people have seen roosterfish. They haven't caught one yet. It's definitely on their list. How legitimate is Costa Rica as a roosterfish destination?
It is really, it's a big option. And going back to my son, when I started raising him, he was a little, started to walk. We live in Mar Vista back then. And the first word he started saying was not papa or mama. It was gallo. That's rooster. And in Spanish, it's gallo. So he will hear all these guys running on the beach, like local guys trying to catch roosters off the beach. And when they will see the roosters chasing the bait, as you can see, the feathers sticking
the
out of the
combs
water.
are up,
Yeah, they're out of the water coming. And all these guys, they will all scream all at the same time, gallo, and they will run down there and throw lines to it. And my son was always watching, and we didn't let him walk to the beach. He could hardly walk, start walking. And he learned to say gallo. So it was not mom or dad, it was gallo. So that was the number one word he learned. So from there, like I say, we have a lot of roosters. It's a perfect environment for them.
There's a lot of people, when they think of roosterfish, they automatically think of Mexico and Baja, which is understandable. Obviously, it's an incredible fishery, but there are many, many of them in Central America, Costa Rica's coastline specifically. We're actually getting to work now with the IGFA on some feature study on the differences between the Baja roosters and the Central American roosters. And with that, for example, the other day while we were up at the New Jersey Trade Show, Arturo was back home running a trip. They caught 34 roosters in a day. So there are times where it can go absolute mayhem. And there are other times you could raise 200 of them behind your fly and popper and they won't eat anything. They're particular or peculiar fish. They're tough, but when you can get them to eat, it's a sight to behold, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a reason they're so addictive.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Well, blue water fishing in Costa Rica for sails, marlin, tuna, it's always been a major draw for anglers coming to the country. I would say in recent years, it's become even more popular in Costa Rica and other places throughout Central America. What does a typical blue water day look like with Four Corners when you guys are going to go out and chase some of those species?
Typically we're up, depending on how far off we're running, whether we're going after sails or marlin. But going after sails, what's awesome about Costa Rica, it drops off right off the coastline. So, really we're aiming to run about 10 to 12 miles off where you're getting into the bites. But we've caught sails right in the backyard of Mar Vista. We had a group of clients a couple months ago, caught a 600-pound black marlin in the backyard of Mar Vista, less than a mile from the shore. Granted, going for marlin, we're more so from that 12 to 30, 40-mile range sometimes. Not usually we all run all the way out to 40, but that's if somebody specifically wants like a blue marlin or something, we'll go out there. There's some fads out there in those areas, things like that. But it's typically waking up 4:30, 5 in the morning and going out and running, and you're on the fish by 6:30, 7 in the morning. You're all up in them.
And then the roosters are more of the inshore species. You're finding those obviously a lot closer, whether it's from the beach or closer to the beach.
Yep.
Yes, yeah. They're like inside a mile range, and the fishing for them is, which is deep too. But we see these rocks and these reefs, and they're like almost on the surface. And so that's what we look for.
They like the structure.
Yeah, they like the structure. The thing is, you get very quiet to those places, and then you start fishing those areas, and then the rooster pops up and wants to chase your fly. Well, 20 other fish are in the same way. They all come because as soon as one of these fish go after, and you're gonna see cubetas and jacks and blue trevallies, and it's a fight. It's so at the end, you have something on your fly. You hook a fish. You're fighting the fish, but a lot of times it's like, what was it? So you can't really tell, until like you pull it up. It's like, oh,
yeah. Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom out there. You never know what you're gonna catch.
The other day we had some clients, and there was 2 or 3 cuberas with a couple of jacks with 4 or 5 roosters and a couple of trevallies all chasing the popper and the fly. Out of all of the fish, of course, the little 12-inch jack ate the fly. Then a cubera came up, ate the jack, and then cubera broke the client off on the submerged rock structure that we could see, got his line back in, threw another fly on real quick, put it right back in the water, and then he caught a massive bluefin trevally. So you never know sometimes what you're going to get. It's Nat Geo down there.
Nat Geo. That's a good way to put it. I love it. Well, Costa Rica is often considered a year-round fishery, and it obviously is. There's always something to target, but there are definitely seasonal patterns when it comes to the fishing and for specific species. Can you kind of break down the main fishing seasons, the most popular species, I guess, if you were to do that? And I know this is a tough question because every client's like, well, all right, what's the best time to come? And that's a hard one to answer because especially in a place like Costa Rica, you've got so many different species options. That's going to vary and you're going to have peaks and valleys throughout the year. But talk to us about the most popular seasons for people to come down and fish with Four Corners.
Typically on the Pacific coastline, it's our dry season, which is like December through mid-May or so. And then on the Caribbean side, it flip-flops. It's mid-May through into November or so. But the main draw on the Caribbean side are tarpon for the most part. Those are best in two different windows of the year. It's March through May or the second week of June, somewhere in there. And then August through about the first or second week of November as well. There are two windows where the tarpon fishing just goes crazy. Then, machaca in the rain season is usually good. Granted, those fish are year-round, really, floating down the rafts and the rivers because when the water's too clear, they can be a little bit tough because they're heightened senses. They can see everything. So I like to do it in the raining season. Just when you're doing that, you got to be cognizant of all the different elements. If there's rain going on 3-4 hours in a different area of the country, that water might end up on the same river you're on currently. So you just always have to be paying attention to so many different variables as well.
Well, how far in advance do you recommend that clients start to book their trip, especially when it's going to be a multi-location itinerary where you're trying to string a lot of things together, and if they're trying to focus on some of these peak seasons? I know at this point in time, you guys probably can accommodate some fairly last-minute trips, but what do you recommend if someone's looking to plan?
In an ideal world, from our side, I'd like to begin the preparations 4 to 6 months ahead of time. But then with the peak season, certain times we'll get booked up during the very prime weekends or prime moons for billfish, certain things, sometimes a year in advance. So it really just depends on what they want to do.
Yeah. And it is a process that takes a little time because it's not cut and dried one location. You're working with them to custom curate this itinerary that's going to have a lot of different elements to it. So, as with any in-demand, interesting destination, the rule of thumb is start planning as soon as you can. It's never too far out to begin the process, for sure. Yes. Well, Marvin, let me ask you this. What do you think surprises first-time visitors the most when they come down to Costa Rica to fish? What do you think their biggest kind of mind-blowing, holy crap, I didn't expect this kind of thought is about Costa Rica?
Well, first of all, the first impression is the topography and the jungle scenarios and, driving through different environments. Like it can change in a half-hour drive. You can be in the rain and going into the dry, and then so all this kind of stuff. People goes like, wow.
Didn't expect the diversity.
It's an expected diversity, yes. And once you get out there and you actually get out there fishing, and when you're rolling, you're going out there, and you're not prepared, all of a sudden you see a big whale rolling right next to the boat, and you see dolphins, and you see all kind of stuff. And it's like you're just getting settled on the boat, and then you're already seeing all kind of crazy stuff.
You haven't even made a cast yet, and you're already
it's like
overwhelmed by different species and things you're seeing.
Yes. So a lot of times, even like I say, going out, like if we know for sure that the current is 12 miles out there, and then that's where we're going to target. Just doing that traveling, you're going to see a bunch of stuff that is like, people make you stop and it's, no, we want to film this, we want to see this, and you see these whales, and like I say, a lot of wildlife there. Yeah. And people's like, this is unbelievable. And then get your rod and hold on to it, because pretty soon you're going to be
here it comes
in trouble. Yeah.
Well, I want to just touch on the topic of gear and equipment really quick, and we can't do a whole breakdown with every single species. That would take another 2 hours, I think. But when people are coming down to fish with you guys, do they need to bring everything? Do they have to have their tarpon rods and their offshore rods and their machaca rods, or do you guys provide equipment? Can you take care of everything if people want to travel light and just show up and put themselves in your hands?
Now, we can provide some equipment for different size groups. Granted, if it's like a group of 8 to 10, I can't provide a 10, 11, 12, 15 weight for every angler, things like that. But we will have at least a 12 and a 15 weight on each boat that goes out. Because a lot of times clients that have never fished saltwater or never fished for fish this big, they don't have those types of rods in their quiver. So we understand that, and so we'll try and have all that available. Typically, people are bringing, if they want to do some DIY around the rocks or beach behind the houses, they're bringing a 9 or a 10 weight. When we're out on the boats, I don't really like bringing anything less than a 12 weight, because the second you do is the second something at the top of the food chain comes up, decides to play. So yeah, 12s and then 15s also for the big boys. And then if you're doing the river fishing, clients use anywhere from a 6 to an 8 weight. And then down to the trout fishing, it can be anywhere from a 3 to a 5 weight typically.
Yeah, so bring a big quiver.
Yeah,
but you can
whatever
help out,
you got.
yeah, with the unusual stuff like the offshore rods and whatnot.
Absolutely.
And then fly, obviously, but also conventional. If you get, families or kids or whatever, and maybe they're not, throwing a 9 weight like they need to, but you can also conventional fish and spin fish.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes.
And that's one of the great things about Costa Rica. It's always been known for how good the sport fishing is, not necessarily on the fly side of things. That's been our job, or not our MO over the last few years, trying to make it known how good it truly is down there. But when people come down and the ability for their son to hook up for the first time, or their wife, or even, and if that's conventional or not, like certain times, even if it's a client that just wants to do conventional fishing, hey, our passion is fly fishing. So would you mind if we bring our fly rods along? And if the opportunity arises, can we teach you, or at least try and show you why we love doing this so much? And even if that means we got to cast the first one and set the hook and hand it off just so you can feel the pull, but we try and work with all of our clients to at least introduce them into our world too.
Nice. Well, let's get back to the logistics. We talked about kind of the in-country transfers, but let's take a step back. If someone is coming to Costa Rica, it's pretty straightforward to get there from most major U.S. cities. Walk us through the typical travel route of how anglers headed to Costa Rica are going to kind of begin their journey and where they're flying in and out of.
Yep, a lot of times. So we've got direct flights from Miami, Charlotte, Atlanta, Houston, L.A., New York. I believe Chicago has one as well, and here Denver. And for example, Denver is a 5-hour flight direct down to San Jose. From Miami, it's 2 hours, 40 minutes, 2 hours, 35 minutes. Charlotte is 3.5 or so. New York is about 5. So it's very accessible, very easy flight. Being from Charleston, I used to hop on a plane at 6 a.m. and I'd be sitting on my coffee farm by noontime. And that's with me having to stop in Miami, layovers, and get down there and then travel to the farm. But it's very easy and accessible. The roads, for the most part, I'd say, are 98% paved throughout the entire country. So getting around is accessible. And granted, when you arrive, we take care of all of that. So all our clients have to do, they just sit back and take it all in and enjoy it.
I mean, you guys meet them at the airport from the time they land in San Jose, and from that point, they're in your capable hands for the whole trip.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you guys make it easy. Yeah.
We try to make, as we like to say, we try to make your bucket list expedition the most feasible that it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like, we try to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to come do this.
Yeah. Well, again, as someone who has been in your capable hands down there, I can certainly attest to that, both as an angler and also somebody traveling with a family, which was pretty cool. Let me ask you guys this. Costa Rica has always kind of been at the forefront of, strong conservation mindsets, no doubt about it. It's always been well known for its great environmental initiatives all throughout Central America and throughout this part of the world. How does Four Corners Costa Rica integrate conservation practices into your operations? How much a part of your kind of overall business direction, what kind of role does conservation play for you guys?
Well, Costa Rica has been, for a long, long time, we've been like into the conservation system. And for that, we have more than 25% of the entire country is national park, untouchable.
The whole country, 25%.
25%
is national park.
Yes, national park.
Amazing.
Yes. So I think it's more now because they've been keeping more land and more land to protect the wildlife. In terms of the fishery, Costa Rica is being implementing a lot of laws, for commercial fishing and all this stuff. Push all these commercial boats way out there, and regulating a lot of the fisheries too, to protect the ocean. So Costa Rica has been coming, long ways in terms of people learning to protect everything, the water, polluting situations and all that stuff. There's, the school system and everything has been pushing real hard into that. Now, as Costa Rica being number one business in Costa Rica, it's the income in Costa Rica is tourism. So, we've been like real careful.
Yeah.
Try to keep it as nice as possible and try to keep it for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, the draw for tourists is the ecosystems, the natural wonders, and yeah, the country seems to be pretty committed to taking care of that and protecting it.
I want to add a little more to what we specifically do. So we work hand in hand with several other organizations out there for different scientific data and research collection and things. Specifically, one of the big ones that we do, we're tagging and releasing a lot of different species. Roosters and tarpon are kind of the most important ones we're focused on right now, as well as sailfish and marlin. Getting all that data back to these organizations for future use and planning and trying to implement the right laws and right restrictions where it's needed the most. As well, in addition to doing that, teaching local kids. So we're part of an organization called Costa Rica Association of Fly Fishermen, where we specialize in spending X amount of days throughout the year on literally teaching local kids how to tie flies, how to put rods together, how to throw rods, what it feels like to fight fish, trying to get the future of fly fishing or the future of Costa Rica specifically passionate about fly fishing. Because if the future is not going to care about nature or care about its longevity, then who is going to do it? And so we've done a lot with them. We've got several other projects upcoming here in the future with a bunch of local kids, some other organizations, one being the Marine Rescue Center on the Pacific Coast, where they specialize in rescuing turtles and nursing them back to health, different species of fish, having specific clinic type fiesta days where we're teaching kids why this is important, why it's important to clean up the beaches and the waters. And with that, we tend to take a trash bag at least on every day trip that we do with clients, and to a point where we almost force them to pick up the trash with us. Like wherever we're going, we're trying to make a difference with it. And I mean, several of the captains that we've trained up, after years, we first show up and we're picking up stuff on the beach and like, what the hell are you guys doing? You're wasting your time. Well, maybe we are, but at least we're doing something, to a point where now they have incorporated all of that. Or same thing, when we first show up to several of these guys with a fly rod, they'd never even seen a fly rod before. Then they look at you like an alien with three heads when you show up with a fly rod. Well, they look at you even worse when you put the fish back in the water after you catch it. They're like, what are you doing? And explaining as to why it's important, sustainability and all those things. And now the quote unquote army we have behind us of people that understand why we're doing all these things, and obviously how it's received on the other side of clients coming down, wanting to have this experience, getting to tag their fish that they catch, and they get to name it and send it in to these organizations. Like it all comes full circle together, everyone working together for the greater good ultimately. So.
Well, that's a good segue to my next question here. Last 5 years, as you guys are building it up, years before that, as you started talking about it and conceiving this idea, but here we are, you're several years into it. You've got this whole network throughout this country, this amazing group of people you're working with, captains, people all over the country. What are you most proud of to date with what you've built up and accomplished with Four Corners and your offerings?
My short answer, what I'm most proud of is, and I don't want it to be taken the wrong way, as if I'm patting myself on the back, but the opportunity I've been able to give to these people. Like for them to now be like, oh, this is my chance to amplify why I think my country's great, not how somebody else thinks it should be shown. Like, I think it's really cool to see them walk around with their chest puffed out to get to show off their country. They're very proud of it. And for a long time, they see the conquistador from America coming in with ideas of grandeur and then pulling the rug out from under them when things become successful and things like that. Well, from this one, it's no, I want this in your hands because the sky's the limit at that point. And to see how it's been received, to see how they have handled our clientele and how everyone's kind of pushing for this common cause, it's been really special. Really, really proud of all.
Marvin, same question to you. What are you most proud of with where Four Corners is today and what you guys have built?
Well, creating relationship with the many people that comes down, and like I said before, turning all these people be part of the family, of the Four Corners family, and also Four Corners working into the conservation, into, like Charles says, we started to create this habit that we go fishing, and then we have a day off to relax and all that, and all this. And I'll pick up a couple of garbage bags, and I invite them. I say, let's go for a walk on the beach. And then, all right, we got to pick up a little bit of garbage here. There's people's like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, making a difference.
It's been, around the whole Four Corners area that we have in the whole country. We've been doing that here and there and there and there, and now they understand that keeping everything clean, keeping everything, special is very important. And also on the fishing situation, like Charles says, catching a nice fish that you could actually eat it, but actually you release it. And people understanding that this fish was a lot more fishing, swimming out there, that somebody can go and catch it again and all this kind of stuff.
And versus for sale in the fish market. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you can get them anywhere else, different stuff. But changing the mentality of the people there, that everything that they can catch, they kill. And if they can kill 50 fish in a day, that's the best. Changing that mentality to be, all right, you can bring back a couple fish for the family, feed the family and all that. But also being able for them to understand that they, you don't need that amount of fish. You can have fun, enjoy the day and all that. You can release a lot of fish and make them feel proud. I release a nice fish, and instead I kill it and whatever. So the next day is not there no more. So I think it's a good compliment. We enjoy. And
I think to add to that from another side of it, like these captains and people in these areas that we're trying to change the mentality for, a lot of it, they're like, well, why are you coming down here to fish with me? Why don't you go to Los Sueños and take the tourists to those areas? We don't want to do that. We like this area. We like what y'all have going on. Needs a couple tweaks here and there. We're not here to fix everything. We're not going to change everything, but what y'all have is special. And if we all get under the same mindset, it can be incredible. And people will soon forget about the Los Sueños and the Tamarindos of the world. They want to come to your spot. And then for them to slowly over the next few years kind of see that transition happening, they're just like, oh, what else do we got to do? Tell us more. How else can we help? How do we be involved? Like, let's fix this. So it's been really cool to see the development of all that happening.
I imagine that's got to be a rewarding thing for sure. Well, what about plans for the future? I mean, you guys are far from done. In a lot of ways, you're just kind of ramping up and getting started. Any new destinations or offerings or programs in the works for you guys?
Well, we've always got several off-menu spots that we don't necessarily put out there for everybody to see, but the occasional one-off trips will definitely go there with the right clientele. We've got something in the works right now that should be to the public within the next year, 2, something like that. But it's going to be a mothership operation.
There we go. So more to come from Four Corners. Very exciting. Well, final question for you guys, and I'll give you the chance to give the plug, not just for Four Corners, but for Costa Rica. Let's say someone has fished Belize, Mexico, the Bahamas, a lot of these other destinations. Why would they and why should they consider Costa Rica for their next trip?
Well, I think Costa Rica can offer a lot of different experience. And in my case, I would love, and I never fish around these areas that you're saying, but I would love to do that. And, and to compare one thing to another. I know they're beautiful places and all that. Costa Rica offers a good experience in terms of catching many types of fish and seeing crazy, jungle, volcanoes, and experience our good food, very healthy stuff. Fruits, we have incredible amounts of fruits, and you can find them along the road as you travel. I think, Costa Rica offers a really nice setup for people to enjoy. And one of my things is looking forward is to, travel around different places and experience different cultures too. I've been in the United States a lot. I know a lot of places around here, and know a lot of people. I really enjoy learning different cultures and different fisheries, and so that'll be something interesting to do. But Costa Rica, I think to me, is the goal right now.
Yeah, a special place. Absolutely.
I think in short, to add on to what he had said, I think why Costa Rica versus these other places, easy answer is it's safe. But then going back to what we just talked about 25% of the country is still protected. Costa Rica is still wild. It's as it should be, or as close to what it used to be, or at least how the whole world used to be. And so when you go out and you're fishing and you come across a pod of 1,000 to 2,000 spinner dolphins swimming, jumping around you while you're reeling on 100-pound tuna, and there's humpback whales breaching around you. I mean, it's tough to describe situations like that.
Yeah.
It's very special.
Special place, and the diversity, absolutely amazing. Not just fishing-wise, but certainly with, the surroundings and the culture, which I think is really important as well. Yeah. Well, Chuck and Marvin, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today to share this story of Four Corners. It's been great having you, and really appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and
thank you for having us.
Can't wait to have you guys back down.
Absolutely. Well, I have to say, the ability to combine fishing on the Caribbean side with, epic roosterfish action on the Pacific side, and maybe even throw in some jungle river adventures along the way. Everything you guys have to offer, it is something that really makes this program completely unique in the world of destination angling. You guys should be proud of what you put together and what's to come.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you so
doubt.
much.
So if you've ever wanted to experience the full diversity of Costa Rica's waters, from the jungle rivers to the offshore bluewater to Caribbean tarpon, then Four Corners, Costa Rica is absolutely worth checking out. To learn more about booking this trip, head to yellowdogflyfishing.com to plan and research, to source gear, equipment, and flies for your next destination, learn about upcoming podcast episodes, and stay up to date and dialed in on the latest news in fly fishing travel and adventure. Join us for our next episode, and remember, keep fishing and keep traveling, because when it's all said and done, no one ever regretted a life of adventure.
This has been another episode of Waypoints, the podcast of fly fishing travel and adventure angling. Waypoints is produced by Brian Gregson and written by Jim Klug. Music is written and provided by bluegrass legend Woody Platt. Audio engineered by Sean McCormick. Visit yellowdogflyfishing.com for more location profiles, destination information, travel news, and the industry's best selection of flies and equipment for destination angling.